Hello, Marco. What's up? I got the pillow. I got the pillow. You got the pillow. You're a good boy. I'm situating things so that I did not mute my mic. Oops. Hello, and welcome back to the Druidic Stormcloud channel. This time on purpose. I was distracted by my dog and hadn't realized that my microphone was not indeed muted. But he's such a good boy. Yes, he is. He knows he is. And he's comfy. So, without further ado, we're going to be jumping into Final Fantasy XIV once again tonight. Or today. Time is weird. And today we'll be tackling the astrology job quest that I was ignoring for so long. So, without further ado, we're jumping right into that. And we're going to randomize our minion, as we always do. Goodbye, Gilgamesh. Hello, Goblin. Now, listen carefully, for we haven't much time. The star globe which you hold is both your sword and shield. It will grant you strength as well as protection, but most important of all, it will grant insight into the current location of the stars, enabling you to channel the heavens' aether into your body for use in all manner of magics. The better attuned you become with the heavens and their malefic and benefic bodies, the better that ether might be manipulated to bring succor or pain. But as you already know, the star globe is not the only tool an astromancer has at her disposal. Yes, the arcana, or more specifically the 6 major arcana, play a defining role in what type of astrologian you will become. Any layman will tell you that the cards are or can predict a man's future. This is both true and untrue. It is not the future that the cards predict, but the cards influencing the man. So that a certain future becomes more attainable. Seeking to tell a man's fortune, you draw a card from your deck. Upon reading the card, you scry that the man may or will be victorious in a coming battle. What is it that brings the man his victory but ether tapped from one of the lower six heavens, granting the man strength, making it all that much easier for him to overcome his enemy? Of course, what card is drawn is linked directly to the target's destiny as well as yours. Are you the one who will see this man to fortune, or will you lead him to his downfall? It all depends on your reading. Normally, I would not dare to cover so much information in a first lesson, but it is my grandfather who has placed his life in your hands, and I'm not about to watch him have his throat slit because you cannot tell the face of an arcana from its back. We have two seemingly capable soldiers here to take the brunt of the bandits' blows. Allow them to carve a trail of carnage while you convince the stars to nudge the two in a direction favorable to my kin. I understand this may be a lot to take it, I understand this must be a lot to digest, but if you are ever to become a capable astrologian, you must believe in the path laid out before you, and in your power to read it, follow it, and ultimately control it. Take some time to acclimate yourself to your new abilities, and let me know when you are ready to begin. I see in your eyes that you are ready. Whatever or whether that actually makes you ready or not, only time will tell. Time, unfortunately, is something we no longer have in abundance. Let us take to the shadows and find where these bandits are holding my grandfather. May the stars be our guide. Helios will target them as well. This is good to know. So we're gathering these 6 cards here, even though we have access to them already. something that is needed to be remembered at times. Okay, this way is going to have us fight these. Right. Oh, this was a dead end. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right. You work hard. And it'll lead us here. But that's the wrong way. All right. Grab this and ignore that one. buff heals them and are dealing decent damage to the enemy. And we saved Mace. That wasn't too hard. I've just jinxed myself in a situation. I was not told there would be 2 astrologians. Enough of this. I am Quimperin, in the employ of Lord Jormungandr. I am sent to escort you back to Ishgard. Are you unharmed, my lord? You say. And where is my former student? His constant pestering is one of the reasons I agreed to make this long trip from the old world. I see none but him and this adventurer. I, too, have seen no other. Just like you didn't see those bastards until their knives were up our butts. But that is of no matter. It was all in the stars. It was all as the stars had foretold. Yes, I saw this adventurer long before ever setting foot on this accursed continent. When the Arcana whispered and told me I would find a worthy successor for my soul crystal. And having witnessed how she eased into her new role, but mere moments after taking up the crystal globe and deck. Yes, I knew at once that my reading was true, and that this adventurer was the astrologian I had been seeking. But now let us see if she has the potential for greatness within her. Look to the skies, Kiara, and there you will see 6 stars aglow in pale yellow. That is the Boal. Bully? This constellation is thought to be the gate to the first heaven, the heaven which holds the World Tree, planted by the matron and nourished by the keeper. The World Tree is the source from which all life is said to have sprung. The trunk of the World Tree, or the Boal, grants strength to the weak, allowing them to stand firm in the face of adversity. You have now opened the gate, you have now opened that gate, and its power is yours to command. A solid Boal represents a solid foundation. It is no coincidence that this very constellation is risen to mid-heaven at this very moment. The moment of a new astrologian's birth. And to think I saw all this a moon ago. It seems I am a better reader of fates than I thought. But I jest. It has been a long journey, with more than a share of unexpected excitement. I am an old man, and one does not need a deck of Arcana to see that my weary legs will not carry me much longer. Let us make haste, Ishgard, so I may give that ungrateful student of mine a proper upbraiding. A lecture. The bowl blazes in level is no longer synced. Alright, we need to go to Central Shroud, Northern Shroud, and then to Porthos Highlands and Ishgard. Or at the very least to Porthos. But yeah, a new job has dropped, Beastmaster, so that's now 3 that I still need to grab. It, like Blue Mage, is a limited job, and we will see what all it's capable of when I get to it. Marco, sleepy boy. Right here. What's the matter, Marco? Oh, you bastard. You want my attention. You want my undivided attention, huh? Well, come over here. Yeah, I went too far. It's a little difficult to give you my undivided attention right now, Marco, but I can give you some. Okay, there aren't any treats in your puzzle toy. And off we go. Well, Marco's decided that since I'm not giving him my undivided attention and getting out of my chair, that he's going to go and pout a bit. I will give him lots of attention after stream to make up for this. Hi. Stretching Swamp. You want me to acknowledge that you're pouting? I acknowledge that you're pouting, and I'm sorry, Marco. That's how you use a pillow. Good job. The walk of this little mini goblin. Hi, Marco. That's where we go. "15 summers passed, and still the flippant clod had lost half my hair tutoring. Sending an adventurer to find the man you summoned halfway across Heidelin, always taking the easy route. And you wonder why you still haven't been able to open the second Heaven's Gate. Allow me to explain, Professor. You see, I was waiting here in case you made it to Ishgard before my manservant and Kiara could locate you. Think of the confusion had you arrived here only to find the Ethereum empty. Wait, how did you know I haven't opened all the gates? My grandfather is the greatest astrologian in all of Sharlayan. There is naught he doesn't know unless he doesn't wish to know it. You of all people should know that. Perhaps I was hasty in my decision to remain here and see to your training. Train me? You? But what of Professor Mace? Isn't that why he made the journey? My grandfather has already completed his task. He simply came to Ishgard out of the courtesy to an old pupil, one who it appears he wasted years on. Wasted? But what are you implying, my lady? Ah, my dear Leviva. You still do not see it, do you? Without Germanek stumbling into my tutelage nearly 2 decades past, he never would have taken this adventurer under his wing and sent her to us in his stead. It was all as the stars had planned. Your soul crystal, Professor! This adventure has stolen your soul of the astrologian. Ever the unobservant Jane. If this adventurer had stolen my crystal, Leviva would have read up some terrible fate for the lass. No, Kiara is my successor, something I mistakenly thought you might be. But even I cannot see every future, it seems. But do not despair. I have not given up on you completely. Despite your failings, you have tried your best to promote the Sharlayan school of astrology here in this den of fools who fail to see aught and all beyond the Dragon Star. I wish to see you continue that fight, and that is why I've bade Leviva to remain here and further your and this adventurer's training. I see. This is all rather overwhelming. Might I have some time to consider your words? No, you either continue your training with me and your protege, or you crawl back into obscurity. I shall give you both several turns of the sun to study the basics of Charlian astrology. It should not be so hard for you, je ne crois, considering you've had a substantial head start. Once you have committed the basics to memory, then return here. In the meantime, I will be traveling Eorzea, searching for locations where Kiara and you will unlock the remaining Heaven's Gates. But you were only recently set upon by bandits. Perhaps traveling alone so soon is unwise. Don't you think I know that? That is why you will be lending me the services of your able manservant. I will. Yes, of course, Lady Laviva. Anything for the granddaughter of Charlian's finest professor of astrology. You heard the lady. Hi, buddy. Hello. Very good. I shall see my grandfather to the airship landing for now. But rest assured, if you neglect your studies, I will know. Greetings, Kiara. The stars tell me you have been rigorously following Laviva's training regimen, though I harbor doubts that go out and do things while I traipse around the realm constitutes a regimen. Still, she is all we have, so I suppose we have to make do. And as the stars would have it, she has just sent word that she is ready for us to attempt opening the second Heaven's Gate. You are aware of the seven heavens, are you not? Just as there are seven realms of the underworld, so too are there seven realms of the firmament, each of the first six representing one of the six basic elements. Earth, ice, water, wind, lightning, and fire, the seventh and final representing the element's astral polarity. The first six heavens are represented by the six constellations, which each revolve around the pole star. Astrologians and the Charlian school draw upon ether contained in the celestial bodies represented in the constellations by unlocking or opening the gate to heaven. That constellation is correlated with. Hello. There is no actual gate. Think of it more of portal to the soul. You're opening your mind, allowing for attunement with these distant bodies, much like one attunes with an aetheryte, but on a far grander scale. Now, this may come as a revelation, but Hydaelyn is not flat like most believe. It is, in fact, a sphere so large that when we walk upon it, it only appears to be flat. Because it is a sphere, there are some locations better suited than others for observing certain constellations. That is why what Laviva is doing right now, finding a location in which the next Heaven's Gate will rise to a position directly in mid-heaven where it will be easiest to attune with. And it seems she has found one near the final prayer in Eastern Thenolan. Alright, so we're going to Thenolan. We can take a bit of a shortcut by going back to Gridania. In addition, my dog decided he wanted sketches. Huh, Marco? Hi. Now then, if I remember correctly, going to East Shroud is the quickest route. Hi. Okay, now it was still to the southern shroud. And I think this is the one that actually the tunnel. There we go. I know you don't need out, buddy. You just want attention, don't you? Yeah, 'cause I'm talking to the different voices again. I do that sometimes, don't I? Oh, it's there? Okay, that's actually a lot closer than I thought it would be. Here at last, I see. Bandits have kept poor Gwynplaine busy harrying our camp since we arrived. I do believe the old man enjoys the excitement. However, I am certain it beats wiping the butt of a noble brat, wasting away his uncle's fortune while dreaming of becoming a real astrologian. I am very well capable of wiping my own butt, thank you very much. And Quimperant has never once complained of his duties. Of course he hasn't. Your uncle pays him to smile and nod, and I'm sure a comfortable position in the pillars beats chasing after cloud rats in the Brune to flavor his soup. Are we here to trade banter, my lady? Because I was led to believe we'd be unlocking the Celestial Gate. You will find Quimperant has a good many uses, and I haven't the faintest doubt that he will most ably handle any ruffians who happen to come stumbling about looking for prey. And now, Kiara and Jennequard, we will be we must be patient and wait for the constellation to reach its highest and brightest point, a point which is, or at which its flow of ether is the strongest in relationship to Hydaelyn. There, Kiara. The balance. Focus on this constellation and attune to its power. The balance represents the heaven of fire, a realm made prosperous by the blessing of the traders. But at the same time, one whose equilibrium is maintained by the divine judgment of Azima the Warden. Azima's might will empower those who would take up their blades and meet divine punishment in the name of the Sun Goddess. And thus the balance burned crimson in your heart, unlocking the gate to the second heaven. Now, let us speed ourselves to the next location. Little Alamigo. Why so soon, do you ask? Would you rather that I had you commit yourself to another several moons of using malefics to put down hedge moles? I thought not. Alright, Little Alamigo, that is in southern Dinor. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 Be patient, Kiara. Allow the stars to make their ascent to mid-heaven. Once they have, survey the skies and let the power run through you. Raise your eyes to the stars and witness the violet glow of the spire. In the third heaven rises an iron tower of spinning gears and taunt springs, constructed by the builder himself. It is assailed without cease by the jealous Vralgar, but the destroyer's mighty levin bullets only serve to power the spire's clockwork soul. It is thought, or it is through the blessing of both creation and destruction, that strength is granted to she who would sees her star rise, or stars rise under this sign. Now open the gate, and its power is yours to command. Using the Arcana to draw upon the power of the stars they represent. This path we walk as astrologers is called the Royal Road. It can be treacherous and fraught with peril, but it can lead men and women to greatness. Your realm is quite the paradox. On one hand, it is full of life, magic, and wonder, one of the richest lands in all of on all Hydaelyn. On the other, it is literally brimming over with strife. Take little Alamigo, the wretched souls displaced from their homes by the flames of war, or Ishgard, mired in its own pointless conflict with an enemy so old it does not even remember why it fights. The foolish believe that it is their fate to suffer, and so they turn their gaze away from the stars. When those selfsame stars have the power to show people there are many paths. But that power can only be channeled by the few, those like me and you, and to a lesser extent Jennequard. And it is our duty to use the power to benefit those who remain lost or misguided. Remember that, and maybe one day you will truly become my grandfather's successor. That is exactly what I have been trying to tell the astrologers of my home nation. Why disregard something that has the power to grant succor to the wounded, the power to uplift the downtrodden, to strengthen the weak? The answer to that is easy. Empowering those without power lessens the power of those who already have it. Heal the weak, and they might rise up and topple those who made them weak. Why would anyone in a position of power do that? Even our great nation of learning is corrupted by this manner of thought. We hoard our knowledge so that we might remain the brightest. Why do you think that it took so long for Professor Mace to visit you, Jennequard? Yes, I know what he told you, but that was not the whole of it. Those of the ruling quarter did their damnedest to stand in the way of my grandfather, worried that his passion for his field would kindle widespread interest in Sharlayan astrology. They only allowed him his recent trip, knowing he was now too old to do aught of the sort. Fortunately, the ruling quarter did not realize I would be accompanying my grandfather. Kira, these past turns of the sun have been most fruitful. Yet while you have opened the heavens, or half the heaven's gate, there is still much of what we like to refer to as the royal road ahead of you. Take what you have learned here in the south or southern deserts and transform that knowledge into strength. If you wish to know more of the royal road, I suggest that you discuss it with Jinaquard back in Ishgard. If my grandfather is to be believed, his time transcribing tomes back in the southern Scriptium have or should have left him more than capable of handling that task. The words. Words are weird. Why so many words? No, not plate. Actions and traits. Oh, we're taking an airship back to Ishgard. And this is going to be interesting so far as the astrologer has been. It's not going to be my main job. My main job will be remaining as the White Mage. Alright, and we're back in Ishgard. You wish to know more of the Royal Road? I seem to recall that it had something to do with reassembling the attribution of the Arcanum before reading it, which would result in a slight alteration of predestined, or perhaps it had something to do with the kings and queens of the minor arcana. It was over a decade ago. And this is going to give us Aspected Helios. Are you doing well, Kiara? Well then, that at least makes two of us. I mean, oh, I cannot keep such important news from you. Kiara, Lady Loviva and Quirpian had just last night they fell victim to another ambush in the hands of bandits. The ever-resourceful one proved his invaluable worth once again with a dashing display of chivalry that would shame any knight in the sea. A statement that attests to the sorry state of our knights, but that is a chat we can have over a different cup of tea. When Lady Loviva attempted to retire to a room at that filthy inn in the Broom, I had our sorely disused second floor cleared and furnished with trappings from my own home. She is up there now and asked to see you the moment you arrived. These bandits are not simple bandits. Wait, you don't seem all that surprised to see me here. Did Quad tell you of the attack? Damn the fool. And after I told him to keep his mouth shut, though I suppose I must bear some of the fault for everything thinking he could do as he was told. Now, I suppose you are wondering why I summoned you here to these makeshift chambers, and no, it has not to do with the bandit attacks. It appears are much more common in your realm than I thought. There are times when the heavens may provide you with a vision of a future that is slightly beyond your original aim. In these cases, the stars are not flawed, only out of order. So, by shuffling the cards back into the deck, we are in no way ignoring or denying a future, merely postponing a reading intended for a later date and replacing it with something that better pertains to the present. I trust you will pick up this technique swifter than Jinaquad. Oh, that was a very quick quest. Okay. Radius of 20 yards, radius of 20, so basically the same. Cost of 800 versus 700, only 100 more? Okay, Aspected Helios is far better. Aspected Benefic as well, change that up. Let's see, Cure Potency of 200 versus Cure Potency of 700. because it's instant. Additional effective regen? I am going to have to eventually sort out my abilities on all the jobs that I'll be using. For now, however, this should be fine. Are you ready, my pupil? The gate to the fourth heaven awaits. However, the location I have chosen for attunement will not remain the most optimal for long. I'm going to travel with Jinaquard, and I will make the journey with the guard. If there are no objections, good. It's in the Cloud Sea, isn't it? If it is Lady Laviva you speak, she just left for Limsa Lamosa. Okay. If you make haste, you may still be able to catch them at the airship boarding. Me, as much as I would like to indulge myself on the pillows of Rutanto pleasure barges, there is a congress to be held in the vault, and all the prominent houses have been summoned. My presence at such an event will be sorely missed, so I fear this next lesson must needs be or proceed without me. I am certain Lady Laviva will understand. I can always open my third gate another day, or was it the fourth? Third or fourth, it is of no matter. The stars certainly will not be going anywhere. Right, airship. I can take the airship to Limsa Lamosa. I'm here for another quest. Milady, the Lady Laviva is missing. We disembarked the airship together, but became separated in the chaos at the landing. Seeing as how the lady has found herself victim of bandit attacks twice since arriving in Eorzea, I fear she may be targeted once again, especially considering the location. This is my first time setting foot in Limsa Lamosa, but I have been made aware of its landmarks. Might I suggest we search independently so that we might uncover more, or might cover more ground? I shall start with several of the seemingly more disreputable locations, such as the Drowning Wench, the Asilia, and the missing member. Would Milady be so kind as to search the Fisherman's Bottom and Coral Tower? Let us meet at the Seven Sages once our survey is complete. Yep, figured something like this would happen. 20-odd summers since I spilled from... Once I heard a word of the astrologian. In the span of 2 bloody bells, I've gone and met myself not one, but an honest-to-goodness pair alive as star golfers. Didn't see where the other fair-skinned lass buggered off to. When's is that? Though often up in the pleasure barges. That's not good. There you are. Another astrologian? How odd. It is not often that even our city-state, known for its diversity, welcomes a single reader of the stars to its gates, let alone 2, and in the same day, no less. Yes, I took a few moments from my duties to speak with her about the city-state. She seemed interested in our dealings with the Sahuagin, the Serpent Reavers, and the Garlean Empire. I told her what I could, but she left after only a few moments. It was as if she thought she was being pursued. But the Charlian was gone before I could assign her a yellow-jacket escort. I seen me a stuffy lass in rum garb poking her loverly head in holes where she weren't wanted. 'Tis rare we get one so wordy down in the growling belly of the tower. I had out training to work out what the fuss was about. The maid inquired as to where she might find herself a nip or two's of some of the strong stuff, so I pointed her in the direction of our resident apothecary, Caravan of the Seventh Sage. It's literally just over here. Lady Kiara, I bear good tidings. The Lady Laviva is scheduled to return here within a matter of bells. It seems she entered a contract with Caravel for the purchase of several of the apothecary's wares. An interesting girl, that one. Rarely do we see young maidens walk the Lamosan streets. Uh, an interesting girl, that one. Rarely do we see young maidens walk the Lamosan streets without escort, and almost never do they come to me seeking spice. Still, she did appear quite uneasy, as if being watched or followed. Suspicious, I must say, and not uncommon in our fair city. Might she be in some manner of trouble? Those few who agreed to speak with me in the Drowning Wench and the missing member claimed the same. My short stay on the Asylum bore no fruit whatsoever. What were you able to find? I see. So we have ascertained that the lady is being followed, and that she is aware of the fact. If this is the case, I believe she will attempt to move somewhere she might be in plain sight as of as many people as possible. I doubt that will help in this town. Kidnappings and killings are conducted in broad daylight here, and when they happen, most people just keep their heads down so as not to have them removed from their shoulders. 12 damn this town. My lady, I shall set out once more and try to locate Lady Laviva. There is still a chance she may return here on her own, so I ask that you remain in case she does. If she has not arrived at the rendezvous point by the time of her scheduled meeting with Carvalian, then we shall both go to the one location that is most populated after the sun falls in Nimsa, the Drowning Wench. And this is going to lead us to another situation. It appears your companion is tied up. Not literally, I hope. Perhaps you should head to the winch and see if she is there, like your friend believes. Though I fear if she did not make it that far, you may never find her again. At least, not alive. Worry not, my starry-eyed friend. If by chance she were to arrive here after your departure, you have my word that no harm shall come to her while she remains behind the Seventh Sage's doors. There's nothing here, is there? Nope, absolutely nothing. This one was a waste of time and may well cost me this instance. imposter? Where did he appear and where did he go? Oh. Okay, we're going this way now. So I was going the right way, just way too soon. Lady Laviva, you have my apologies. It was my fault. I allowed you to become I allowed us to become separated. Do not blame yourself. I sensed danger at the landing, and it was my instinct to run, as ever I have. I forgot I could trust you. Unfortunately, by the time I realized such, there was no sign of you. So I did what I could to blend in, choosing crowded places, speaking with as many locals as possible, though all the while fleeing or feeling though there were unseen eyes watching my every move. By the time I realized that my pursuers were simply leading me away from you, night had already fallen, giving them the perfect opportunity to strike. It was then that I witnessed several of the bandits had disguised themselves in garb similar to mine. I assumed this was to confuse the two of you still searching for me. It was then I conceived the idea to play the part of an imposter myself. Why hide in the shadows when you can hide in plain sight? That was quite brilliant of you, Lady Laviva. May I ask, were you at any time able to discern who these pursuers were? The amount of effort you put into your capture would suggest they are more than mere pirates looking to sell you to slavers. Unfortunately, no, and I wasn't about to walk up and ask them who they were or who hired them. But that is all behind us now. Let us see if we can salvage something from this horrible night. The fourth gate ascends nearby. Kiara, shall we not see it made yours? To the anchor yard. Well, I'll be a barnacle on a kraken's arse, if it ain't that star-gazin' or star-goppin' lassie come to scry us our fortunes. Tell us, which one of ye'll be dyin' first, like the beat red knight with the carp on his codpiece, or the stern-faced venturer on her high hobby horse? That's damn. How many pirates are in this god's forsaken hell? Lay down them weapons, or I'll cut the old man a new grin under his chin. I cannot believe that actually worked. Nor can I. But then again, never have I fought someone so credulous. Now, let us do this as they do in the fair babes. You step over here. I let the man go. Easy peasy. Wait, I know you. You're the bandit leader who attacked Lady Leviva's grandfather in the Black Shroud. Someone has a good memory for being so on in years. Yep. Well then, this changes everything. First off, I can finally drop this annoying pirate accent. And secondly, I suppose I can simply kill you now, rather than after pretending to let you go once a lady has drawn close enough. Stop right there! Unhand that man, or I'll have you, or your head tarred and on the prow of a galley by crow, or cockcrow, said by morning. First maniacal marauders, then feline fishers, and now the Commodore of this Wyvern Dalmascian Navy. How many how many more gods in this machine going to drop me on me? Until next time, Lady Leviva. Mission. You have my apologies. I was a fool to fall for the bandit's trick. Amazing. In all my years, that was the first time I've ever seen that feign death trick actually work. But now is not a moment to be dawdling on our many failings. I have a dastard to apprehend. You would be surprised how often people run after being told stop right there. Lady Leviva, the pirate. She was the same bandit who... Yes, I know, and that changes little, for I still have no idea who she may be, or who she may be working for. There is naught we can do until the Commodore brings the woman to justice, or until she decides to attack us again. What we can do is what we came here for, Kira's training. Fortunately, we didn't miss the window, apparently. Now, look to the stars and behold the arrow. The fourth heaven, or the heaven of wind, was created atop a lofty peak by Oshan, the Wanderer, whose footsteps had been guided by the Navigator. The wind that blows off Lemian's sails guide the arrow fast and true, and so shall it deliver the weary soul of those trapped in the mire of confusion, indecision, and over-contemplation. The fourth heaven has opened its gates, allowing you access to its sacred... I'm not sure what that word is. From this day forth, its power is yours to interpret and wield. That power will further aid you as you continue to hone your skills. Now, let us return to Ishgard. I have a few words for a certain student of mine who has felt inclined to forgo this particular lesson. Alright, now. Alright. Okay. Down here. To Ishgard. And then all the way up there. Ah, Kiara, you might have had the decency to warn me that Lady Laviva was in a mood with me for not joining you. She seemed to think I was to blame for your misadventures. Now, why would that be? It's not as if my being there would have prevented the bandits from attempting to abduct Lady Viva. These being the same bandits who attacked you in the Black Shroud, which, by the way, is another location I was not at. This is plainly something far beyond our control. And furthermore, it is not as if I was merely sipping cordials and waltzing with baronets. I was helping to further our cause. I spoke with several high-ranking cardinals about Lady Laviva being granted the opportunity to speak at the vault regarding Sharlayan astrology. What do you think of that? I was politely turned down, of course, but it is the gesture that will one day lead to another gesture, which will one day lead to the head inclined slightly in the general direction of another gesture. Little steps, my protege, little steps. Alright, next we're going to learn gravity. An AoE ability. That's good, we were lacking that. Greetings, your timing, my friend, is impeccable. For it just so happens that at this very moment I have need of your assistance. While our lovely Lady Laviva has been making herself a target for every cutthroat and cur in the realm, I have been focusing my efforts on our main objective. Training? Pah! There will be time enough for training later. No, I speak of our ultimate goal of spreading knowledge of Sharlayan School of Astrology throughout the Holy See. As you know, the Vault recently turned down my request to allow Lady Laviva to speak before them, but I am not one to be turned away so easily. No, I have a plan. I will entreat Chief Astrologian for Lamort to draw up an official recommendation. The vault will not be so quick to dismiss the words of a man of such standing. Yes, yes, I know mine uncle loathes me with a passion rarely seen in young lovers, and there is really no reason why he would aid our cause, being such a staunch opponent of change and all. But that does not mean we cannot try, and if we fail, well, then we can try again, and again, and again, until he is so annoyed that he writes us the recommendation simply to see us out of his thinning hair. And by we, I mean you, considering how red the chief astrologer became the last time I visited him. I reason it would be detrimental to my uncle's health should I arrive at his place of research, and we most certainly would not want him to fall ill or collapse before he pinned us that recommendation. As you can see where it is that we need to go. On a chocobo, no less. Our own chocobo. Which I should put in armor, honestly. Warrior of Light should be a good setup for him. At least for now. I'll go through what I have and what I might be able to get another time. As you can see, I have not quite reached the appropriate level with many of my other jobs. That is to say, almost any. Who do I see disturbing me this fine morning but Charnaquard's new scullery maid? I suppose you came here for this. Charnaquard never ceases to amaze me, or to amaze, does he? Not only does the lout have the nerve to ask me for aid, but then he refuses to do me the common courtesy of accepting that aid in person. Ever the entitled little shite. More worried about his popularity amongst the fairer sex than how his actions disgrace his family name. Ah, the slack-jaw. I suppose you are wondering why in the world I, of all people, would agree to such nonsense. Well, it is simple. Allowing the heathen astrologian to dig her own grave in front of the entire vault and the Ishgardian astrologian community will only serve to accomplish what I wished for from the very start. Charlian astrology has no place in Ishgard. It has no place in Eorzea. It has no place in this world. It is dangerous, and it serves no purpose but to take our eyes off of what is truly important, using astrology to free us from the dragon menace and ensue Min's return to Halarone's kingdom. Laviva's dithering will only make it that much clearer. Janequad, perhaps this will finally spell his downfall. He has only been allowed to continue this nonsense because he is harmless, too caught up in the luxury of being in line to Count Durindir's title to actually put forth any real effort in furthering his cause. Charlian astrology is but an oddity which he can boast about at balls to get him in bed with the Slattery maidens or maids of lower houses. His father has protected him thus far, but allowing him and this lady to speak, there will be no brushing under the rug the shame this brings forth. Janequad will be finished. Or so he claims. Alright. Alright. So he gave us this to see about digging the or to embarrass ourselves, basically. Let's see how that works out for him. Here's the airships, there's the stairs for that. Inform me right away once Chief Astrologer in Forlamont has denied my request for a letter of recommendation, so we may begin work on our next request. This cannot be. It is! The seal of Forlamont. The seal is Forlamont. How did you... What did he say? No, wait, mayhap it is better I do not know. Well, this changes everything. I will have to arrange another meeting with the vault, summon the cardinals to the Durindir Manor, and we'll need wine, and sparrow stuffed pheasant, and pheasant stuffed goose, and goose stuffed chocobo, and bards, and a whole trope. Not to eat, of course. A whole troop. No, I fear I will no longer be able to join you on Lady Laviva's next opening of the gates. Do give her my regards, though, when you see her in Mordona. So we go to Mordona next. Hi, Marco. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. You're a good boy. You know you're a good boy. Are you gonna talk to me? Are you gonna talk to me, Marco? Are you gonna tell me all about it? Oh, you want my attention. You want my undivided attention, huh? I'm right here. I'm right here, buddy. What's the matter? What do you want? What's the matter? Tell me all about it. Oh. Well, apparently he wants out. Very much so. And as such, I will be taking a short bio break and taking care of that. So, bear with me as I will be right back. After this, Marco break. And I'm back. Completely and utterly back. Marco is off playing with the neighbor's dogs, and we are going to Mordona. There we go. Right there is Mordona. This is spot along the same vein as I thought. Nishgardian Astrologian. For once, we are not the bandits' targets. We came across this young woman as she was being dragged into the hills. Though we drove her abductors away, I suspect they already mustered the courage for another or for a second attack. It is good that you and it is a good thing you arrived when you did. This girl claims she is a student at the Athenaeum, and recently overheard Janquard mention we would be conducting another gate opening in Mordona. She journeyed here on her own in hopes of having the chance to witness your astromancy firsthand. I say we give her something to remember. And does he regen on him? You have my apologies, Lady Laviva. I did not think. Your only fault was your insatiable thirst for knowledge. A realm where one must apologize for being a victim is no realm worth living in. But why would those men attack me? I believe it is now quite obvious that these bandits were not meant for you, but for me. It would seem that certain parties fear the spread of Charlene astrology, and would stop at naught to prevent it. My Charlene constellation chart. The bandits. It must have been torn when they seized me. Here, you may take mine. I have the stars committed to memory. I don't know how I'll ever be able to, but I will think of something. Just you wait. I will repay this kindness tenfold. Lady Laviva, you mentioned something about certain parties wanting to prevent the spread of Charlene astrology. Have you any idea who they might be? I do, but I shall require more proof before we can be certain. You and Kiara should be able to assist me with that. However, as they say, first things first. We have a gate to open. Oh, there's the destination. There, the ewer. Focus, Kiara. Focus, and let the constellation's ether twine with your own. It is said, through the fifth heaven flows a mighty river carrying the waters spilled forth from the scholar's vessel. And in that water is the strength of all that have come before and all who will follow. Thou spun from Numeria's loom, from which might and metal is weaved. And now the power of the ewer is forever yours, and forever shall it point you to victory. While I cannot forgive our patron for skipping yet another of his lessons, I cannot deny that the passion hidden deep within all his posturing may have its uses. Word of our field is spreading, and our inherent nature has begun to stir. Curiosity is proving the better motivator than skepticism and faith. Our time may come soon. Alright, we return to Ishgard. There we go. Once we complete this quest line set, then we will be done with the healer ones. I will be setting a poll on my Discord to decide the role that we go through next. Be it tank, melee DPS, ranged DPS, magic DPS. Do not tell me Lady Lviva was attacked again. I knew it, and without a reading, my talent to grow by the day. What is this you claim? A fellow astrologer who was moved by my words and to witness the unlocking? That is amazing. I wonder who it could be, though I would certainly recall speaking in detail with a young supple mind. I must find this woman and hold another special lesson with her. Lesson? That reminds me, Lady Lviva asked me to teach you a new technique before you had opened the Fifth Heaven's Gate, which you have already gone and done. But it appears you were able to overcome your ordeal without it. Yes, exactly according to my lesson plan. You still wish for me to teach you the technique? Very well, though I do not really see the point. And we learn gravity. Can I punch this guy? Alright, and this is going to teach us Sinistry. Single target, it seems. Generate an etheric bond with the target party member. Each time you cast a single target healing spell on yourself or a party member. The party member with whom you have the bond will also recover HP equaling 40% of the original spell. That is actually huge. Lady Lviva tells me you are nearly ready to open the sixth and final gate. Yes, I said final. We all know there are 7 heavens, but opening the 7th is impossible. Well, except upon death, of course. Any attempt to attune to the pole star would be sheer madness, and most certainly spell your doom. But look at me, even now attempting to tutor the great Kiara, when it is obvious your talent far surpasses mine. Forgive me. Lady Laviva has yet to depart for the location of the final gate. Doubtless she fears yet another bandit attack, but whatever the reason, she remains on the second floor and has asked that you visit her at your earliest convenience. Where is the guard? We've come far since that fateful day our paths first crossed. Blah! In the Black Shroud. And now, here we are on the cusp of your attunement with the sixth heaven. Time truly waits for no woman, does it? Before we set forth on this task, I wish to teach you a technique known as synastry. By temporarily adjoining your fate with that of a companion's, they will reap the star's benefit as do you. As a passable journeyman astrologing, you already wield sufficient control over ether. You need only focus upon establishing a bond with your chosen ally to achieve synastry. She teaches the technique before we set out. And this will give us our equipment for level 50. I believe you are ready to attune with the final constellation. The location of the next lesson is actually not far. I assume your travelers have taken you to Camp Dragonhead. Excellent. I, as always, will go ahead and make my final readings. If each of our previous outings are any indication, the bandits will harry us most certainly, or which harry us will most certainly jump at this opportunity. So I will have him scout the area ahead of time and report any suspicious activity to the knights garrisoned at the camp. Let someone else bloody their hands for a change. I say, feel free to tell Jinaquard of our plans, though I do not doubt he already has some of his own. Lady Laviva has already departed. Well, then she must have leapt from the window, for I did not see her use the front door. I dare say that means we will be traveling alone. Of course I will be attending. Why wouldn't I be? Now, for the case of Astrologian, since we have effectively the initial job quests and the level 60 to 70 ones, I will be doing them on separate streams. Because I have to take care of my dog and everything, and can't spend all day on Final Fantasy XIV. Alright, this will sync our level to level 52 and be ready for anything. Kiara and Janiquard? Well then, it appears giving my constellation map to that astrologian in Rathfrost was unwise, as my readings for the location of the sixth heaven have proven slightly off. However, a second calculation has shown that we are close. The optimal location lies just to the north of here in a derelict tower known as the Steel Vigil. You, you have the look of a talented, or of the learned about you. Might I ask if you've seen this star map before? It was on the person of an astrologian who came to us seeking help after being attacked. That is my map, the one I gifted the astrologian in Rathfrost. Do you mean to tell me she was set upon again? Your map? Well then, I'm going to have to ask you to accompany me for questioning. The astrologian claims she wrested this chart from one of her assailants before escaping their grasp. Lady Leviva, why would you assault the self-same woman you risked your life saving? Because she did not, my lord. Why would you even think something so foolish? This must be some sort of misunderstanding. I was present at the assault. We saved the young maid, of which you speak, from a party of bandits, and Lady Leviva gave her own constellation map to replace the one damaged by her assailants. My Lady Kiara here was also witness to these proceedings. Well, we have our own witnesses who say otherwise. So until we can have a trial and a adjudicator who can pass his judgment, this Leviva will have to come in for questioning. For she herself has admitted the map is hers. It is all right. I have not to hide, and arguing here will not bring us any closer to the truth. If anything, I wish to confront this woman who would bring false accusations against those who saved her life. Very well then, take me where you will. I shall answer all your questions, and you will soon learn who is spouting falsehoods. My friends, you need not worry over much, for I shall be in the company of the Temple Knights, where no harm might befall me. I will return once I have proven my innocence. I don't think those are actually Temple Knights. No harm, Quathel. That knight was the self-same astrologian whom we saved in Mordona. The astrologian who now claims we attacked her. Are you saying the astrologian was a temple knight? No. Listen, my lord. I'm saying the astrologian is no more astrologian than she is a knight. I'm saying we have been played. We've fallen victim to a ruse that has landed Lady Leviva in the hands of those who have been attempting to kill her since she set foot on Eorzea. Then you're saying she won't be safe in the presence of those Temple Knights? Those weren't Temple Knights, my lord. However, they were wearing the colors of our knights, most heavenly, and if we were to assault them, then, or this near to, or the heavily garrisoned camp of, those Those weren't temple knights, my lord. However, they were wearing the colors of our knights most heavenly, and if were to assault them this near the heavily garrisoned Camp Dragonhead, we would be stuck full of arrows before anyone asked us why we even drew our blades. No, we must shadow Lady Leviva's capturers and wait for an opportunity to take her back. How exciting! Can I take point? No, of course not. Preparing ahead of time. Okay. Self-same fake astrologing. Another one slips away. Alright, there were signs that perhaps an airship was around, and that is a terrifying thought. as yet another one wanders off. Just as I expected, these fools have led me straight to the answers I've sought since my arrival in these backwoods realms. In this backwoods realm. And if I am not mistaken, my trusted companion should be arriving right about... now. I'll be taking this. The moment you lift off in that airship, the whole land will know you are not true Temple Knights, and you will be made to answer for your crimes. Once we're in the air, it will not matter what anyone knows, you fool. We will not be returning once we have slain you and your friends. No one will stand in the way of my fate, especially not some dog's body of a forum, or of the forum. Of course I knew the Temple Knights were false. I recognized the astrologian we saved almost immediately, and I find it insulting that they believed I would not. I also knew that they would lead me to the true perpetrators if I played along, fully aware that you loyal three would follow. And I am pleased you also knew that we would somehow crawl our way, and I am pleased that you also knew we would somehow crawl our way out of that little tussle with our lives, because I was certainly for the most, or because I was uncertain for most of the journey. Well, I was certain Kiara would make it, for the stars have already told me she would unlock the sixth gate. And here at the Steel Vigil, the very location we ended up at. Despite our unexpected ordeal, your fate, Jinnaquad, well, I never bothered reading it, for I thought you would skip this lesson like you have every other one. Kiara, gaze up at the night sky and open your soul to the final consolation, the spear. The spear is the gate to the sixth heaven, where the Fury resides in a place of ice carved by her own spear, ice formed by the moonbeams collected by the lover Menphilia. The spear fills us not only with the power to overcome our enemies, but also the compassion that is necessary to grant those same enemies mercy. And now that power is yours to see directed at those whose fate requires it, whose fates require it. But it is done. You have attuned yourself to the six lower heavens, and now that you have or know their strength, the true journey begins. You have my congratulations, Kiara. What has taken me more than 15 summers to accomplish, you have done, and more, in a matter of moons. But our time together has taught me that, despite what we may believe they are, we all have our roles, and each role is just as important as the others, without taking both Quimparian and you under my wing. You would never have saved Laviva from her assailants, meaning, in a way, I saved Lady Laviva. Not that I am one to take all the credit for such heroism. Nor shall I take credit for this missive that never would have been discovered, were it not for me taking you and Quimparian under my that cold stare. It befits this God-forsaken place. A point taken. Let us break the seal and see what we... Why, this handwriting. I've seen it many a time before. It is mine uncle's. But that would mean... It would mean the highest-ranking astrologian in all Ishgard has been attempting to assassinate us. If the tribunal were to hear of this, he would be hanged. And a hanging will only earn us another ill-tempered Orthodox astrologian unwilling to open his eyes to the benefit of our discipline. No, we can use this missive to our advantage. As long as this remains in our hands, so too does the chief astrologian. Are you saying we use this missive to blackmail Forlamont? I am saying we merely grant the chief astrologian his life in exchange for a little assistance in furthering our just and noble cause. No more, no less. I see. You are quite the devilet, my dear. Very well. I will summon mine uncle to the astroscope. We there we can present him with our offer. I wonder if we can get him from up top. Other destination was up top. Why must you insist on pestering me, Jinquard? I gave you your letter, now leave me be. But that would not be the only letter you have written lately, would it? Perhaps you recall a certain letter to the Forum? A letter carried by a party of less than savory characters who attempted to kidnap Lady Leviva and deliver her to Sharlayan's. Not to mention kill me, my manservant, and my good friend Kiara here, who you may have forgotten is currently an honored guest of House Fortem's. A letter drawn up and signed by none other than you, Uncle. Oh, but do not presume to misunderstand us. We wish neither your disgrace nor your death, at least not at our hands. In fact, we wish very little from you. Not, you might say, in the sense that you are to never again use your influence to hamper our efforts at spreading Sharlayan astrology here in Ishgard. Involve yourself no more in the affairs of me or my guests, and your secret remains safe. I will even forgive you for attempting to have me murdered, if, that is, you give me your word. It is not as if you've left me in it with much choice. You have my word, but know that silencing me will not make your nonsense any more accepted in the vault. There are others who will see you fall, others who care little whether or not I speak my piece. We are fully aware of the peaks we have yet left to scale. However, we shall not let that discourage us. I have been shown a path that I altogether plan on walking, and the stars shall guide my way. The stars foretell many things, my dear, and not even the best readers can see them all. Do not forget this. So we have silenced him, but hear him tell it, he was the least of our worries. There we go. Okay, Saurian is what I got. So it might not even be... Alright, so really that was not a full set as I thought it would be. Boots, gloves, skirt. And a robe, a cashmere robe of healing. Saurian cashmere. Okay. So this is the set we got currently from that. Let's go ahead and take on this level 50 quest real quick. Because this should be the last one for this set. Now that Forlamont has so graciously discontinued his meddling in our affairs, I believe we may find our peers and colleagues more receptive to our proposals. Perhaps I shall begin with another trip to the vault to inquire about reconsidering my petition to grant Lady Laviva the opportunity to speak with the Conclave. We all have our strengths, Jinquard, and none will deny yours is convincing seemingly sane people to do your bidding. Here is a testament to that. I look forward to hearing of your progress. As for myself, there are still some questions I need answered. The first being, how exactly did Forlamont come into contact with the Sharlayan assassins? Prime, attend me. I wish to visit the Foundation and learn if there have been any sightings of suspicious foreigners. But I suggest that Kiara do the same here at the Observatorium. Perhaps a second call on our new ally will help mine uncle recall aught he may have committed in the heat of the previous moment. Or omitted. 7 hells, I rue the day I ever see another Sharlayan. Please, I've done all you asked. What more do you want from me? Blood? Or are you simply here to boast? Or I may have wished to know how the Sharlayans came to be involved in my scheme. Ha! I thought as much. If it was so important, why didn't your Lady Leviva ask me earlier? Her head is so far in the stars, she fails to see what unfolds around her on the ground. The truth is, it was never my scheme in the first place. It was the Sharlayans. They came to me not long after Professor Mace's ship was diverted to Thanalan. Yes, I said diverted. The pirates in the Strait of Menethar, the magically manipulated storms off of Rotoro, all were staged to prevent your friends from ever arriving. But when they did, the Sharlayans were forced to change their plans. They required help hiring local hands discreetly, something they could own or could not do as foreigners. I agreed to lend them aid because I felt we both stood to benefit from the disappearance of Jenquard and that fool Chit. Chief Astrologian, is there barely a day when he isn't meeting with visitors from across the realm and beyond? Why, this past moon he has been entertaining guests with very distinct markings on their faces. I asked Lord Forlamont whence they hailed, and he only answered the north. I overshot where I was supposed to turn. Charlian came to him, that can only mean that mine uncle was only a pawn in a much larger game. A game that began long before we ever became involved. Think back here. The bandits in the Black Shroud, and those pirates you described that attacked you in Lamosa, they all had strange facial markings that as did our false astrologian. It is not much, but perhaps Lady Laviva will be able to make more sense out of it all. Despite the time we have spent together, I have this feeling she has yet to be completely honest with us. But look at me. A beloved relative tries to have me killed, and the next day I begin doubting everyone. What a sad, sad state of affairs. Perhaps to clear my head I should call on that fine young Viscountess visiting house, Helene Trey, from her family's stead in the East Highlands. This information on Forlamont's associates should be relayed to Lady Laviva immediately. Would you be so kind? I seem to recall them saying they'd be questioning highborns in the pillars. My lady, were you able to learn anything of import at the observatorium? Yeah. Lord Forlamont was not the one to hire the Charlians. Lady Laviva will want to know. Lady Laviva? Lady Laviva? She was right here. Oh no. We must find her. I would not think any harm could come to her here in the center of the Holy See, but then again, that is what we believed back at Camp Dragonhead. I shall search the Hoplone. Might I ask you search the opposite direction near last vigil? Sorry, I think you have mistaken me for someone else. Kiara, when you were speaking with Quinpox, someone approached me from behind and placed a dagger at my back. I had no choice but to be led silently away. Luckily, my assailant let down his guard. When we arrived in the shadows, I was able to deliver him a swift kick to the groin. I've been running ever since. So, Forlamont wasn't the architect of this scheme to drag me back to Charlian. After all, I had my suspicions. I was a fool to believe they would simply leave me be, or let me leave. Do you recall when I mentioned there were people in the old world intent on hoarding our nation's knowledge? Well, it appears that my efforts to retrain you and Jinquard have attracted their ire. Kiara, allow me to apologize. I have not been wholly frank with you about my reason for visiting Eorzea. Truth is, I came because of my father. My father dreamed of rekindling the Holy See's interest in Charlian astrology, believing that it would be of great benefit for to the embattled people of Ishgard. I came here several moons after I was born, intending to remain only for or for only a season. However, he never made the return journey. His dream was left unrealized, and his newborn daughter left without a father. Never once did I meet him, but every night when I look to the stars, I know that those are the same skies he too gazed upon, the same skies he used as his strength and guide. It was only natural that I followed his footsteps in spite of the objections from my mother, who did not wish to see her only daughter lost as well. And here I am in Eorzea, almost 2 decades later, pursuing a dream my father never lived to realize, a dream that has become my own. And now, someone is trying to stop me. Well, just let them try, I say. Just let them try. Lady Laviva, a maiden of your beauty should not wander off without an escort. Monsters hide even in the shadows of the pillars. Maiden, flattery will earn you nothing, Jenquard, but I will accept it nonetheless. Tell me, what did the vault say to our proposal? They accepted it. We have been given official permission by the Holy See to conduct a symposium on the wonders of Sharlayan astrology with you as our guest speaker. Now, come, we must hurry back to the Ethereum and begin preparations. More than 15 summers to make ready for this moment, and now I only have a matter of days. Kiara, this has been a most beguiling past few moons, I must say. I truly did not expect the turn of my fate has taken. I suppose that speaks much to my capacity as a reader of the heavens. I am not blind to what goes on in Foundation, so I will not claim that my life is in any way difficult. But that does not mean I do not have my share of troubles, however trivial they may be. Being anything but first in line to a countship is not all sunshine and rainbows, we'll say. The Count only truly cares about his newly adopted heir, or newly appointed heir. Just like the rest of my family, they expect great things from him. From me, they expect nothing. For a long time, I tried to prove that I could be as great as my cousin. It is why I went to Sharlayan. It is why I tried to do things I had no business even trying. Then, once I realized no one was looking, I simply stopped caring. My actions became more and more outlandish, because at the end of the day, that is what everyone expected. But then you two walked through that door and helped me realize that maybe life is more than the coffin that has been fitted for me. Maybe the fate I believed was mine was not mine at all. And for helping me see that, Kiara, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Alright, next is level 52 for that. So that'll be the 50 to 60 range, and it will be the 60 to 70 range next week. For now, I hope you enjoyed the stream. I hope you drop a follow here on Twitch, and if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe down below. No matter the site, no matter the time, hit that bell for notifications, and check out my Discord for go live notification and to vote on things like what game I play next, what kind of character I make, add some chaos to my streams. And if you're watching on YouTube and you enjoyed my stuff, make sure to check out my channel here in the middle. If there's too much there because all my VODs are there and it's overwhelming and you don't know where to start, not a problem. Here on the right's a playlist of me playing a different game entirely. It's as good a place as any. And if my stuff wasn't for you, but you stuck around anyway, here on the left's a video YouTube thinks you will like. So, stay safe, stay happy, stay crazy. Bye!